Group, Miss Birdie, H&L Homes, and VM Group. Tonight, we focus on social issues. Our moderator, Janella Precius.
Welcome to the first of 3 political debates organized by the Jamaica Debates Commission and staged before a live studio audience. The debates are intended to assist in identifying, clarifying, and understanding the issues being presented in this general election campaign. This evening's debate focuses on social issues and is a team debate. Members of the panel of questioners are Natalie Campbell, Irie FM, Romardo Lyons, TVJ, and taking and presenting questions from the public is our social media editor, Amoy Harriet, CVM TV. I am your moderator, Janella Precius. As is customary, the audience is prohibited from applauding the debaters except for now, after we've announced each team. For Team JLP, Matthew Samuda. You can clap. For Team PNP, Raymond Pryce. Up next is the JLP's Kamina Johnson-Smith. Also joining Team PNP is Sophia Fraser-Binns. And for the JLP, Pearnel Charles Jr. And for Team PNP, Damion Crawford. The guidelines for tonight's debates have been previously agreed and are posted on the Debate Commission's website at www.jamaicadebatescommission.com. The guidelines include questions being no longer than 30 seconds and each team being allowed 90 seconds to respond to each question, and rebuttals are limited to 45 seconds. The questions posed in tonight's debate will come from 2 sources. The first, you, the public. You can send us your questions via direct message on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to Jamaica Debates. These will be checked, selected, and asked by our social media editor. The second source of questions is from our panel of journalists. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond our control, there will be no interpretation for the deaf and hearing impaired. Now, based on a previous coin toss, the first question tonight comes from Natalie Campbell, and it will be directed to Team PNP.
Good evening. The People's National Party has been highly critical of several Jamaica Labour Party programs, including the rural school bus system. You say you have better options. Which programs have you earmarked for immediate discontinuation, and what timeline are you proposing of replacement programs to ensure continuity of service to Jamaicans?
Good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for that question. Productivity means that there is a balance between effectiveness and efficiency. Effectiveness means doing the right thing, and efficiency means doing the thing right. Indeed, the separation of students from adults and the organized contribution of carrying them to school is a wonderful concept. However, how the JLP intended to execute, I believe, is highly inefficient. First of all, the cost of buses for 300 million based on the information we have received, and then 800 million for the refurbishing of those buses would indicate an inefficient use of resources. Additionally, we have seen where new buses, Toyota buses, coaster buses that could have been used would have been a more appropriate purchase, and that would have been within the same cost. Additionally, the ineffectiveness of these bus systems would suggest that very few children would be able to be moved. We have over 440,000 children to be moved, and at this point, those buses will be best capable to move between 4,000 and 8,000 on each day, indicating that the vast majority of children will still not benefit from that program. And so one thing that will immediately discontinue is one that doesn't incorporate the principals, the guidance counselors, and be more targeted in ensuring that those who are finding it most difficult to get to school are able to get to school, in particular deep rural children.
Thank you so much. Team JLP, your rebuttal.
Thank you. The Jamaica Labour Party is doing what the PNP has not and cannot do. We want to keep our children safer. And we are using the savings, $1 billion savings from the JUTC, where we have cut theft of diesel and shifted to CNG, to buy 110 new buses at $1.4 billion for our children. The parents will save $180,000 per year annually per child, and the children will be safer, greater attendance, they'll be safer at school, cameras, wardens. Why not? It's best for the country.
Thank you very much. Romardo has the next question, and it will go to Team JLP.
Good evening. Despite the 2025 changes to NHD loan limits and the modifications so more minimum wage earners can qualify for grants, many youngsters have lost hope of one day owning a home. What will you do to ensure that in multiple offer situations for properties, youngsters aren't outbid by older Jamaicans with much more to offer?
Firstly, thank you for that question. The Jamaica Labour Party has ensured that we focus on our youth. On a general way, we have increased minimum wage, we have increased support for youth, we have specialized in terms of ensuring that our youth are particularly aligned in terms of delivering houses. There's a special allocation under the NHT, and while we increase loan limits and increase the income bands, we've ensured that there's greater access to housing for our youth and for all Jamaicans. Let's be clear, how we have managed the economy is exactly why we now have enough money to increase housing solutions to 34,000 houses and 60,000 more to come. Even the youth who you may define as within poverty lines are being taken care of through the social housing program, which we provided more than 300 and much more to come. For the Jamaica Labour Party administration, housing solutions, housing developments, and the total national development is based on the fact that we have not only been able to save more, but our focus is on increasing economic development completely as a country that has suffered wage freezes, suffered heavy taxes. For 8 years, we've had no new taxes. All of these things have impacted our youth positively. So the youth have more money in their pockets as we also increase the tax threshold. So the youth who are at the entry level are able to present more to the NHT.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Team PNP, your rebuttal.
It's hard to rebut someone who seems not to know what he was saying. So I'll go to the substantive response. The People's National Party manifesto makes it very clear. We have several programs that will make it easier for the average Jamaican, young people in particular, to own their own home. One of which is waiving the requirements for them to be able to pay the closing costs to the amount of $500,000 per person. We will also allow them through the rent-to-own program for those who do not have a payslip or work as barbers or tattoo artists to use their rent in a house built by the NHD. That rent will be converted to a mortgage, and their credit rating will be based on their propensity to continue paying.
Thank you so much. I think we can take a question from social media. Amoy?
Thanks, Janella. Well, this social media question comes from the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET. They're asking, industrial pollution incidents like the repeated Rio Cobra fish kills continue without meaningful consequences for polluters. What measures will your government put in place to guarantee stronger deterrence?
No secret that as a country we have not been protecting the environment as we should. The People's National Party is committed to protecting the environment. We will ensure that the body that is charged with the protection of the environment does its work. And so we will have a second look at NEPA. We will make NEPA independent, and we will also create an independent tribunal for NEPA. Apart from that, the environment impact assessment is something that we must look at. The People's National Party is committed to ensuring that the requirement for environment impact assessment is legislated. For us in the People's National Party, we can't talk about the economic development. We cannot talk about community development unless there is the protection of the environment. And we are committed to doing that. We will do this by ensuring that communities are part of the decision-making process when it comes on to environmental issues. And that is why we are committed to signing the ESCAZU agreement, which will ensure that there is access to information so people know about development or pollution in their area, that the community has an opportunity to speak and share their views, and certainly that there will be access to justice when environmental rights are breached. That is our commitment from the People's National Party, because time comes to protect the environment.
Thank you so much. Team JLP, your rebuttal.
The People's National Party has never been serious about environmental protection. In their last time at the wicket, they proposed a coal plant to generate electricity in St. Elizabeth. They proposed the development of the logistics hub in the Goat Islands, including saying only Too Little Lizard was over there by the former minister in charge. But beyond that, they have a leader who could not bring himself to vote for the plastic ban when the matter came to the Senate. They have never demonstrated environmental leadership. This government has. It is why at the last time there was a serious industrial incident in the Rio Cobre, this government drew down on a $117 million bond, the single largest consequence for environmental breach in the country's history. It is why this government also passed recent amendments to the NRCA Act that allowed body corporates to be charged upwards of $10 million at a judge's discretion. This government is serious about the environment. We have demonstrated so. We have demonstrated so internationally, and it is why we will continue to lead with new elements of the plastic ban, with amendments to WLPA, with accession to the SPA protocol, and it is why we are recognized as an environmental leader globally.
So we're just getting started. It's now time for a short break, but there will be more when we return.
The general elections debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Tomorrow's success will depend on the decisions we make today. At the Scotia Jamaica Foundation, supporting the well-being of our nation is more than a choice. It's a sustainable world for every future.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me Kendall. Anytime of the day, night as well, just give me me Kendall. Everybody can tell taste good, great smell, just give me me Kendall. Number one in flavor, no parallel, about quality, you know we excel. Ready down, K-E-N-D-E-L. Give me Kendall.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group.
Just give me Kendall.
At Flow, we understand.
Commission in association with Scotiabank for Ever Future, Kendall, the taste of quality, Flow, NCB, Arc Manufacturing, Water, JN Group, Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie, H&L Homes, and VM Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
And welcome back to the Social Issues Debate presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. We invite you, the public, to send us your questions via direct message on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to Jamaica Debates. Now we invite Romardo Lyons to begin this segment with a question for Team PNP.
Last year, just a little over 1,000 councillors were employed within the public school system. In some cases, one councillor served up to 3 schools. That's one individual to thousands of students. Your 2025 manifesto promises a Jamaican education system that is globally competitive. How do you plan to fix the student-councillor ratio?
Thank you very much for the question. Indeed, it is our intention to ensure that we have an improved education system. The current reality is that it is moving in the wrong direction. In 2015, literacy in Jamaica was 84%. Currently, it's 65%. Indeed, in 2015, 5 subjects, including math and English, was 28%. Currently, it is 19%. In fact, to use mathematics, which the government has recently celebrated, after last year, the minister indicated that it was a critical problem. This year, with much hoopla and celebration, only 9 dege more children passed mathematics. And they said it was a great occurrence. The People's National Party will accept and acknowledge where we are, because in 2015, 14,000 Jamaican children passed mathematics, and in 2025, only 7,826 Jamaican children passed mathematics. This is a part of the malaise that is happening within the education system. What we will do in particular, as it relates to guidance counseling, is to incorporate and hire more guidance counselors, but also to form the Department of Socialization to utilize not only the guidance counselors, the deans of disciplines, and also the persons who are most familiar with the children, which should be the form teachers. That will expand the number of adults to children ratio and have the guidance counselor be informed by those who are most related to the students.
Team JLP, your rebuttal.
The Jamaica Labour Party believes in our children, and it believes in their social well-being, their mental health, and their support to ensure that they will be their best selves and then become the best productive citizens of Jamaica. We certainly recognize that education is not where it needs to be, and that's why we commissioned the Education Transformation Commission, led by Orlando Patterson. We have set up a plan. We have 30% in. We know what's not measured does not get done. The PNP talks about transformation, but they have never transformed anything in this country. We will ensure under a trend program with more involved parents, more empowered teachers, more involved students.
Thank you so much, Ms.
That our
Kamina
students
Johnson-Smith.
succeed.
Thank you so much. Our next question comes from Natalie, and it is for Team JLP.
As Jamaica seeks to harness the economic potential of large-scale entertainment events, what is your strategy to ensure that these opportunities are balanced with the fundamental rights of motorists and residents to freely move without undue disruption to their lives?
It's no secret that urban planning was lacking for the last 50 years. It's no secret that the heartbeat of Jamaica has been its cultural and entertainment industries. It's no secret that under the leadership of Olivia Babsy-Grange, Jamaica has grown from strength to strength in harnessing the power of these awesome industries. In the next term of government, the JLP will ensure that all urban planning for our town centres contemplates and plans for entertainment zones. We have also moved rapidly to ensure we have reserved space for 24-hour event zones. But that is but one part of the parcel. The next component also has to be how you encourage the human capital. But encouraging the human capital has to create the structures that allows young people to see a total future in it. It is why we're proud of the pension scheme that has been introduced for our entertainers, because our young people now know that there is indeed a future. But beyond that, we have structured our tax regimes in a manner that will encourage significant investment in the entertainment sector. We have created the space where those who wish to invest in movies, those who wish to invest in sound, will indeed come to Jamaica. We're not going to throw new funds that we know will indeed trigger new taxes, because that indeed has been the hallmark of the PNP, new taxes.
Thank you so much, Team JLP. Team PNP, your rebuttal.
Yes, it is no doubt that the orange economy is called orange for a reason. The People's National Party has been central to the development of entertainment in this country. Indeed, the tools of trade was introduced by the People's National Party for the extension of benefits to the entertainment industry, so that they too could act as if the manufacturing, farming and other industries in the importation of their inputs. In addition, it seems that the taxes are not the only things that are being stolen by the Jamaica Labour Party, because the idea for the entertainment zone originated with the People's National Party. What is crazy is that the Jamaica Labour Party believes that the solution is in one single venue, and one single venue cannot solve a problem that exists throughout the entire country. We will ensure appropriate zones and community zones.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crawford. And now, before we go to our social media, Natalie has indicated that she would like to use her first of 2 follow-up questions so that our viewers understand the process. Both questioners have the ability, or they can ask 2 follow-up questions, and both teams have 45 seconds within which to answer the question. Natalie, go ahead.
So I wanted to hear more about the balancing of how do you protect the motorists and the residents who have undue delays and been stuck in traffic for hours in the interim until those zones are designated up and running?
Well, obviously the zones are indeed the long-term strategy, but in the interim we'll bring all stakeholders together, being the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the municipalities and the promoters themselves, to ensure that there's adequate parking. We would have instituted many park and ride events for national events, which would have seen significant reductions in traffic. But just to note, the idea for the entertainment zone did not originate with the PNP. It actually originated with Edward Philip George Siaga. And it is this party that has had the strongest relationship with the cultural industries and has put its money by way of investment into these industries. But to be clear, the infrastructure that is required is being invested in by this administration in multiple venues.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuda. Thank you so much. Team PNP, your 45-second rebuttal.
This sounds like the same claim that Edward Siaga also was the originator for the idea of Portmore, and that too was a lie. However, what we have recognized is that we can separate the people from the events by partnering with agro-parks to have a section within agro-parks reserved for what we call party town, multi-zones, multi-venue zones that persons can gravitate to and know where entertainment activities are. What we have also recognized is the bias within the Jamaica Labour Party of how entertainment is treated, because large events such as Sumfest has never obeyed the Noise Abatement Act, but all the round robins must obey the Noise Abatement Act. We will ensure equity by allowing for an appropriate approval for extensions that persons can apply for, regardless if you're large or small.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crawford. We now go to social media. Amoy has a question, and she will direct it to the respective team.
All right, so to revisit the topic of education, Alpha Media on Instagram is asking, COVID-19 exposed deep gaps in digital access. What are your concrete plans to ensure every Jamaican student has access to reliable internet and digital devices?
And that question goes to Team PNP.
Thank you very much. It is important at this point that we expose what some of the ridiculous approaches have been from the Jamaica Labour Party. They indicate that they have been doing extensive investments in schools. However, with the schools in need of approximately 1,000 students, needing up to 210 megabytes, the highest capacity of those providers is 35 megabytes. Some of those contracts that have been given are incapable to reach even 15 megabytes so that they can officially and can appropriately be utilized. Indeed, having invested over $2 billion in e-books, the newspaper reported that many teachers indicated that the inability to access them in their classes made the e-books ineffective and inefficient. What the People's National Party will do, first of all, is to build out the last mile of fiber so that more persons in the rural spaces can access. Additionally, we understand the pairing of energy with the internet, and by extension, we will also build out the last mile for electricity access using solar implementation. We will use as a school multiplier, force multiplier, teacher multiplier, impact multiplier, the technology through AI, in particular for helping teachers with marking, helping teachers with the lesson planning, and also helping students to access information in an appropriate and effective way. So the People's National Party will embrace technology in our schools and expand the reach so that our students can benefit.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crawford. Team JLP, your 45-second rebuttal. Your 1 minute 30 rebuttal.
The PNP talks a good talk about technology in schools, but it is the Jamaica Labour Party, through its National Broadband Initiative, that has ensured that more than 700 schools are connected with broadband. And we've made sure that not only are our children at school connected, but we have rolled out more than 380 free public Wi-Fi hotspots that make sure that when children leave school, they're still able to be connected as our teachers. We've handed out more than 200,000 tablets. We've trained our teachers and given them vouchers for tablets and laptops in particular. We're providing digital equipment for classrooms. We're ensuring we've completed an audit of all our labs to ensure that they're provided for with the best technology in rural and urban. So from St. Thomas to Hanover, all our children must have access to the best technology, and location should not determine your education. The Jamaica Labour Party is uplifting education in every corner of Jamaica, and we're continuing to do what the PNP likes to talk about. We are also ensuring that we will provide, I must speak to the matter of the creative villages, that we will be providing 100 of them in our next administration, should the public trust us. We will also be training through our Creative and Cultural Institute, and we will be also providing for creative special economic zones that will create the next generation of jobs.
Thank you so much, Ms. Johnson-Smith. Our next question, it comes from Romardo, and it goes to Team PNP.
In 2022, the Jamaica Observer exposed the harsh exploitative conditions under which many call center workers work. If elected, what will you do to fix these issues that contradict labor laws in the BPO sector?
You know, the start of that question is an acknowledgement that the provision of modern access to technology, including the internet, including broadband, including fiber optics, began with the liberalization of the telecommunications sector when Philip Paulwell was a minister with responsibility. My opponents opposite seem to be having an issue putting the correct time frame to the responses. In other words, a seeming disconnect with reality. With respect to the BPO sector, one of the most recent industries facilitated by the technological advancement, there are serious concerns with respect to conditions of work, pay, time off, even sick leave, things that the Jamaican workplace has considered for many years to be a right. These BPO operators, the contractors, are not necessarily from the Jamaican space. So more integration has to be done so that they understand what our labor laws are and what the members of the Jamaican workforce have come to expect, including things such as maternity leave with pay and equal work for women. In the PNP administration led by Mark Golding, we will begin that education process, that integration process, and allow our partners in the BPO to understand the nuances.
Mr. Pryce. Thank you so much, Mr. Pryce. Team JLP, your 45-second rebuttal.
Thank you. The BPO sector, like the tourism sector, is offering a significant opportunity for many of our entry-level youngsters to have good jobs. Jobs that will allow them to be able to get not just revenue but work experience. And it's important to know that the government not only sees the expansion in the BPO sector, but through the inspectorate at the Ministry of Labour, we ensure to speak to employers and employees and to monitor to make sure that where there are any abuses, we take the necessary steps immediately, whether it is to carry them to court or whether it is to bring to constructive social dialogue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles Jr. We're moving on. Natalie has the next question, and it is to Team JLP.
Jamaicans seeking care at public hospitals continue to face long lines, shortage of medical staff, overcrowding with the difficulty getting a bed if admitted, and long waits for clinic appointments. What is it going to require to improve patient care at public hospitals and other healthcare facilities?
Let me say this. The government takes it very seriously in terms of improving the health infrastructure. We have upgraded 138 of our health centers. We have rebuilt and restructured key hospitals and are starting to construct the regional children and adolescent hospital. And most importantly, in addition to the health infrastructure development, we are and have created 3,000 positions for medical professionals with 1,000 community aids and 600 scholarships, which means not only better infrastructure for health, but better staffing of professionals who will be able to provide better service to the patients in Jamaica. We take this very seriously, and that is why under this government, we have seen where not only the 138 health centers and the key hospitals, but the expansion of NHF, the expansion of the hours and services, all of these providing a comprehensive delivery of service for the people of Jamaica.
It's important to remember that the Jamaica Labour Party inherited a health sector in absolute crisis, where their own opposition spokesperson said that surgeons had to be wearing garbage bags to operate.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kamina Johnson-Smith. PNP, your 45-second rebuttal.
If there's any evidence of the Jamaica Labour Party's failure, it is evident in the health system. Indeed, Cornwall Regional is an excellent example, having moved from $2 billion all the way to $22 billion and still not complete. Mammograms in our public sector is only 2 mammograms in our public sector. And the #1 hospitals in Jamaica, also including our children's hospital, does not have an MRI or a CT scan available. Indeed, the number of children that has died neonatals has gone up to 246 over the last 2 years.
The better proof of it is the absence of the Minister of Health at a social issues debate where he should have answered to his appalling track record. He's now been there over the economic debate.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pryce. We take a question now from our social media editor, Amoy.
Thanks, Janella. Well, this question comes from Nita's Funeral Home. They're asking, funeral homes contribute significantly to Jamaica's economy, yet the industry remains largely under-regulated and under-supported. How do you plan to formalize the industry, ensure proper insurance options for families, and use the sector's contributions to expand opportunities such as national scholarships for Jamaicans?
Okay, just to explain to our viewers, both teams have equal times to respond to the social media questions. Team PNP, you go first.
The issue with the under-regulation of the funeral home sector first came to light during the advance of the COVID pandemic, when there was a lot of misinformation and a lack of information as to whether or not post-mortem there could be a transmission of the COVID virus. As a matter of fact, that process opened the potential, the possibility for any administration in office to have formalized and put in place structures and protocols that would have given ease to the professionals working in the industry and the family members of the deceased. What now needs to happen is for a recognition that this is a sector that is a critical part of the Jamaican social space, an adjunct, if you will, of public health. And the utter absence of any form of regulation, despite 9 years of unbroken representation by the Jamaica Labour Party as the head of government, is yet another indication of people who claim to know what they're doing, but still at the end of a 9th year, going into a 10th year, are having difficulties with a manifesto to explain not only what they've done in the past, but what they intend to do in the future. When PNP is in office, we can guarantee to the public that those regulations will be in place.
Okay, Team JLP, your response?
The issue with the lack of regulation in the funeral home sector came to public attention in 2014 when the funeral homes with contracts with the government for paupers' burials were not being paid. That is when the issue came to mind, or rather came to public attention. The reality is the sector is indeed lacking sufficient regulation. However, we have moved forward to bring the Ministry of National Security and indeed the Ministry of Health to form a working group to address this very issue. And there are many elements to it. One such element is the fact that the industry was operating without a proper public autopsy suite. This government, under Horace Chang's leadership at the Ministry of National Security, built the first public autopsy suite at a cost of $700 million, clearing one element that creates a significant backlog in this area. But lest we forget, the PNP has no credibility in the management of the health sector. Under Fenton Ferguson, every single Jamaican watching this debate tonight suffered the effects of Chick V. We suffered the effects of his failure to deal with vector management. Lest we forget that the then leader of the JMDA, your current spokesperson of the ministry related to health, said it was the worst management he had seen. He said doctors were using garbage bags. So people died because of the PNP's failure, lest we forget.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuda. It's now time for another break, but we will have more when we return.
The general elections debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me candle any time of the day, night as well. Just give me.
Resilience of our people is cemented in our products, built to last for generations. Laying the foundation for thriving communities, we're committed to excellence and quality. Quality products, quality relationships. We're all proud Jamaicans, working hard, doing good, building a sustainable future for all. That same unbeatable spirit runs through us.
Kendall, the taste of quality. Flow, NCB, Arc Manufacturing, Water, JN Group, Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie, H&L Homes, and VM Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the Social Issues Debate presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. We invite you, the public, to send us your questions via direct message on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to Jamaica Debates. We now ask Natalie Campbell to start this segment with a question for Team PNP.
Good evening again. If elected, what are the top 3 policy or reforms your government would prioritize during its first few days or weeks in office?
The People's National Party, Damion, will ensure that every decision we make has the people at the center. To start that off, we will, take a look at the health center. The Jamaica Labour Party will have you believe that they're serious about health. Tell that to a mother who've lost her child at the hospital. Tell that to patients who go to the hospital and can't find water in our restrooms. And you're serious about hospitals? You must be joking. The People's National Party will, 1, prioritize our health service. The second thing that we will do is to ensure that education, that there's access to education for all our children. We will do this through the provision, Damion, of 1 meal per day for each child. But we'll also make sure that transportation, which is one of the major issues preventing our children from going to school, is dealt with. And when we're talking about transportation, we're not talking about some 10-hour bus. We're talking about transportation that is effective, reliable, and can transport our children in peace, where parents can feel comfortable.
Additionally, Sophia, we will immediately give the First in the Family Scholarship to those persons that are in school currently at the university, as long as they're the first in the family. Also, we will ensure that ownership improves by making sure that squatting communities are reviewed under the POSHA program and open all the home ownership plans to our persons through rent to own.
Thank you so much. JLP, your 45-second rebuttal.
That convoluted response will require a supplementary estimate being tabled in the House of Representatives for a budgetary contemplation. The PNP does not have a structured set of policies ready for Jamaica, which is why they're not ready for government. The Jamaica Labour Party, in its next term, will continue to pursue peace, productivity, and indeed prosperity. Ultimately, the Jamaican people are happy with our suite of achievements. You see, we have cut poverty. We have cut unemployment. We have grown the economy. We have invested in infrastructure. And that is why the Jamaica Labour Party will indeed be returned to government.
Thank you, Mr. Samuda. Romardo has the next question, and it will be directed to Team JLP.
Roughly 10,000 students graduate annually from Jamaica's top 4 universities. Majority are young professionals. They were taught to go to school, get subjects, go to university, and then get a job. Many follow those instructions and end up repaying student loans for years, struggling to save money. With another term, what will you do to ensure in your first year that more educated youth can have a taste of prosperity?
The Jamaica Labour Party believes in our young people, and this is why we've already reduced interest rates at Student Loan Bureau. We've removed the requirement for guarantors, again taking away the barriers. And in our next term, we'll not only institute the new policy wherein students can have access to a loan which covers not only tuition, but accommodation, books, laptops, and food, living expenses. More importantly, of course, as we touch on the issue of debt, we know that our young people sometimes get thrown a curveball by life. That's why the Jamaica Labour Party is not only going to expand the moratorium, which already exists, but we will institute the student loan debt reset. Under that policy, we will be waiving for all delinquent accounts 100% of penalties, 100% of insurance charges, and 50% of interest arrears, ensuring a fresh start for those who just have had life take a wrong turn. For those who are in good standing, they'll be rewarded for their responsibility and, of course, encouraged to continue in their good efforts. And they will get a credit to their account of $100,000 per account in good standing. Those who, of course, are at the cusp of closing out their accounts, we will pay up to the amount required to close. This is us not talking, but acting.
Thank
as
you
always.
so much, Ms. Kamina Johnson-Smith, PNP, your 45-second rebuttal.
The People's National Party will ensure that our young people not just dream, but have a chance of being the best they can be. So what are we going to do? One, we're going to make sure that there is $1 billion available so that they can get $500,000 towards their deposit. Secondly, what we are going to do is to have what we call a forgiveness, a graduated forgiveness of students' loan. So for every year that you work in the public service, your students' loan payment will be discounted. And we understand that sometimes you leave university and you simply just can't get a job. The present system says you must still pay your students' loan. We are saying no, an end to that.
Thank you so much. We go to social media, who has a question which will be answered first by Team JLP and then Team PNP. A reminder that both teams have the same amount of time to respond to that question. Amoy?
Thanks, Janella. This question comes from Kimmy on Instagram. There's been criticism of the government's 300% wage increase and delayed salary increase to civil servants. If selected to form the next government, how do you plan on making civil servants' salaries equally as attractive?
The Jamaica Labour Party has been responsible for the largest increase to public sector wages in the history of independent Jamaica. Do we want to be able to pay more? Absolutely. And we're committed to ensuring that we work with all stakeholders to ensure fiscal stability, to ensure the health of the economy, so all workers can be paid fairly without destabilizing the economy. We certainly are committed to engaging in fora, including the Partnership for Prosperity, as well as the negotiating mechanisms which are currently at play. We understand the concerns of cost of living, which concern each and every family, and we are committed to always doing our best within the affordability of our economy to do the best by our public servants.
No, let's forget. When the salaries for parliamentarians were announced, the opposition spokesperson on finance got up and said he had no objection, only to cut off at the knees by the leader of the opposition the next day. It's not the first time the leader of opposition has cut off one of his spokespersons at the knees. He has cut off Senator Crawford at the knees when he proposed an additional 2 hours for schools and an additional tax to fund education. This is a common pattern with them. But the opposition will not roll back parliamentary salaries because they support it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuda. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuda. Team PNP, your response.
I will answer Mr. Samuda on the platform, but today I'm focusing on the people. Let us look at what happened with our teachers. The government is currently ranked by the Prime Minister and the ministers as the highest in the Caribbean. Our teachers are ranked 6th or 7th in the Caribbean. Under the People's National Party, when we did our restructuring, the teachers were placed at 80% of market. Under the JLP, when they did their restructuring, the teachers are now propped at 50% of market. Additionally, the teachers were bamboozled into believing that their allowances would have been considered. But the JLP removed all the teachers' allowances and gave them a simple raise, in some cases, of 12%. While they took 300%. What is evident from how it was handled is that the JLP is not a party of equity. They didn't treat all persons in the same. And as their former Minister of Finance suggested, that if it was to keep the best, they would have to raise their salaries. No wonder we're seeing so many teachers leaving our classroom because of the inefficient treatment from the Jamaica Labour Party. Teachers, nurses, and the public sector will know that they have a listening ear and a reasonable negotiator whenever we get into power. And one thing we can guarantee is that we don't believe they're worth zero, as the Jamaica Labour Party has suggested. 0% raise suggests that the teachers are worth nothing. The police are doing a wonderful job, the teachers are doing an excellent job, the nurses are doing a wonderful job, and we will ensure equity in treatment as we treat ourselves.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crawford. We're going to take another question from social media. Amoy?
This one is from Joel. Many Jamaicans are concerned about the limited access to beaches and the costs that apply to them. What measures will you put in place to ensure that Jamaicans have greater access to their beaches?
Team PNP, you get to respond to this question first.
Over the last 9 years, there have been countless situations, Miami Bay Beach, Bob Marley Beach, where Jamaicans have been denied the right of access to beaches. For us in the People's National Party, right access to beach is not an option, it is a right. And because of that, we will ensure that all Jamaicans have access to our beaches. We have done it before. In our last administration, we spent over $12 billion rehabilitating Winifred Beach, Priory Beach. We've done it already, we're going to do it again. So what are we going to do now? We are going to ensure that the provisions in the Beach Access Act come to life. And where the amendment needs to be made, we're going to do that. What we're going to do as well is going to ensure that we work with all our tourism partners, all our private investors, so they understand that access to beach is a right for all Jamaicans. Thirdly, what we will do is to ensure that we rehabilitate beaches so that persons, when they come to beach, whether they're fishermen or they come for relaxation, that they can do it in dignity. Because for the People's National Party, access to our beaches is not just something you do. It is a matter of justice, and it is a right. And we commit that we will have access to beaches.
Thank you so much. Team JLP, your response?
The people of St. James know that all that was just said is a farce. When the People's National Party took away Cornwall Beach from the people of St. James, they did so without a care in the world. It is this administration that built the Harmony Beach Park over Dump Up Beach to give the people of St. James back beach access. It is this administration that will genuinely renovate the Priory Beach in St. Ann. I'm not sure what was referred to as a renovation because that's a joke. It is this administration that will ensure that the Padgy Beach and indeed the Boston Bay Beach in Portland will be returned to the people of Jamaica. There isn't a Beach Access Act, as was mentioned, but there is the Beach Control Act. This administration will indeed, at the first sitting of the new parliament, table the beach access policy, which will guarantee windows to the sea being maintained, corridors to the sea being a facet of development approvals, as we have recently done through NEPA with hotel approvals in Trelawney and in the Grill, where there are corridors built by the hotels to facilitate access for citizens. You see, our policy is important, but beach access cannot just be words. It has to be investment in beaches like the Harmony Beach Park. It has to be corridors to the sea, as we have indeed insisted upon through our approval process, through NEPA, in Trelawney, in the Grill, and more to come.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuda. Thank you so much. We will now take a short break and invite you to stay tuned.
The general elections debates are presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Tomorrow's success will depend on the decisions we make today. At the Scotia Jamaica Foundation,
Scotiabank for every future. Kendall, the taste of quality. Flow, NCB, Arc Manufacturing, Water, JN Group, Lasco Foundation, Pan Jamaica Group, Miss Birdie, H&L Homes, and VM Group. Watch, listen, decide, vote.
Welcome back to the social issues debate presented by the Jamaica Debates Commission. We invite you, the public, to send us your questions via direct message on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to Jamaica Debates. We invite Romardo Lyons to start this final segment with a question for Team JLP.
A digital Jamaica where technology is woven into the fabric of business and everyday activities. That's what you promised in your 2020 manifesto. But today, there are residents in Swamp Road, St. Thomas, putting phones in trees to make calls and to get reception. Why are so many Jamaicans in rural parishes still behind technologically?
That's an excellent question. Much progress has been made in respect of digital transformation. The National Broadband Initiative has connected over 700 government institutions across the country and has also been seeking to connect our police stations, or courthouses, or schools, and other institutions as a matter of priority as the base. We've also been seeking to encourage competition in the environment, in this sector, to ensure greater investment and greater rollout of fiber optics, of satellite technology, as well as Wi-Fi internet connections. The Jamaica Labour Party believes in technology facilitating business. It's why we ensure that now you can pay your taxes online, you can apply for your e-motor vehicle registration certificate, and in a new administration, we will do even more. We will ensure that there is the task force to ensure efficiency and innovation, not only in the public sector but beyond. We will not only set up the task force, but we will allow a portal for private citizens to make suggestions with incentives and prizes to ensure that they feel a part of the process where they see that systems can be improved. The Jamaica Labour Party has already built efficiencies that have helped this economy to grow, that have helped with youth and regular unemployment, and we will do more.
Thank you so much, Team JLP, Team PNP, your 45-second rebuttal.
First, you keep mentioning about policies to make the economy grow, and after 9 years, you're still growing at under 1% per annum. The question mentioned difficulties of persons in rural Jamaica having access to telecommunications services, perhaps because you said from St. Thomas to Hanover. What is your fundamental problem with Westmoreland and the other parishes why you think that only St. Thomas to Hanover needs quality access to broadband? But you know, the greater tragedy is that you're talking about task force for what you are going to do in the next administration. We are waiting on the task force for why you didn't get it done in the last 9 years.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pryce. Romardo has indicated that he would like to use one of his follow-up questions. Romardo, just a reminder to both teams, you have 45 seconds to respond. Team JLP, you first. Romardo.
Your government has repeatedly said that education is a priority. Now, the technological issue in the rural parishes aren't just for residents. Schools are also affected. Just this year, a smart lab was opened in St. Aloysius Primary School on Duke Street in Kingston. When will schools in rural parishes start to feel included in this technological push?
They should feel it very soon. As a matter of fact, they'll feel it in this new school year. Procurement is already underway. We not only have had new contracts engaged with contractors to roll out more connections, but we are also investing in equipment, which is already in procurement, to ensure that our labs are equipped in rural schools as well as in urban schools. We believe fundamentally in ensuring that regardless of where you live in Jamaica, you must have access to the best education, and you will have it in the next administration. As a matter of fact, starting in this new school year.
Thank you so much, Team JLP. Team PNP, your 45-second rebuttal.
The JLP is clearly an enemy of the truth. Indeed, we have heard them suggest that 200,000 laptops were purchased. That would indicate 2-to-1 ratio, meaning for every 2 children, 1 should have a laptop. I'm asking those watching today, have your child received a laptop? Have you seen anyone receive such a laptop? Indeed, whoever is responsible for purchasing these missing laptops will have to answer under the People's National Party, because we have not seen those laptops. We will ensure that the gadgets are in place, but as we've said before, we build out the last mile that many of the private sector believe is not profitable to build out, so that the persons can get access to internet wherever they are. We will use that technology also for the small schools.
Thank
to
you,
have
Mr.
better
Crawford.
usage.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crawford. Natalie has the next question, and it goes to Team PNP.
We are in the hurricane season, and each season the authorities face a challenge persuading residents to evacuate some areas when the island is under threat. What strategies would you implement to ensure compliance?
Part of the reason why residents don't want to evacuate is that the poor level of communication and education prior to a storm causes them to be caught unaware. Let's take, for example, this instant year 2025. All across media, we have heard advertisements from the Office of the Prime Minister with sections of budget presentations, and we are midway the Atlantic hurricane season, and not once has ODPEM been given the resources that OPM has for its parallel adjacent political campaign under the guise of public education. The second reason why residents do not want to evacuate is because they are realistically concerned that when they evacuate, the spaces that they are taken to will be substandard. In the next PNP administration, we will build out a series of evacuation centers that will be properly fitted with adequate water for on-site storage, as well as food and access to health, access to other emergency services, so that families feel more safe in bringing their elderly relatives into a space where they are certain that the services and the quality of standard will be there when they evacuate.
Thank you so much. Team JLP, your 45-second rebuttal.
It is clear to us on Team JLP that Raymond is fluent in misdirection, misinformation, and clearly not paying attention to the news of the day. It is the JLP that would have just completed and launched its own Doppler radar, meaning we're no longer depending on foreign sources for our weather forecasting needs. It means this government, the next administration under Andrew Michael Holness, will have accurate information on time and be able to communicate it so to you at home. We're also working with the United Nations CDF program to build modern and safe shelters for you at home, so you can trust the information and trust where you're going to go and be safe during the hurricane season. Thank you so much, Team JLP. We go to Amoy now, who has a question from social media. Amoy?
All right, so this question comes from Tiana on Instagram. She says, Jamaica's hospitals are overcrowded and under-resourced. Can you explain how your party, if elected to government, will fix this without repeating the delays and bottlenecks of past administrations?
Okay, thank you so much, Amoy. Team PNP, you can answer this question first, to be followed by Team JLP.
So this is a social issues debate, and health is a primary social issue. If you look across to the opposite, the campaign chairman from that party, who has been the Minister of Health for 9 years, must have suspected that members of the public would want to drill down, shall I say, into why the health sector is so poorly managed, why your relatives at home, when you go to the hospital, can't get a bed, why you have to take the prescription from the nurse beside your relative's bed and go into the private pharmacy sector to purchase basic medication, why you have relatives sitting in wheelchairs or in the driveways and the parking lots in the cars that you took them to the hospital with and still can't get triage, even basic assessment as to the extent of their suffering. It's no wonder, Dr. Tufton, you're not here today. You have chosen to go and hide behind marketing strategies to support what's her name again? The the Minister of Finance and the Public Services. The People's National Party, Matthew, understands health. We are the ones that modernize the hospitals on the budget and in time. Your reference to Chick V is old and dated. Look at your 9 years and speak to those.
Thank you so much, Team PNP. Team JLP, your response to the question?
Thank you, Tiana. It's a really important question because I know that we have not reached every community and we have not reached every hospital yet. But the Jamaica Labour Party is undertaking the most ambitious and in fact will be the most effective reconstruction and construction of hospital infrastructure in Jamaica in decades. The Western Child Hospital is under construction, close to completion. The rebuild of Cornwall is also almost completed. We're making sure that we focus also on primary health care, making sure that more health centers are renovated and brought closer to you so you don't actually have to go to the hospital. We're adding more doctors and nurses in those healthcare centers, more equipment so that better care can be had closer to you. We're adding more healthcare centers with expanded hours to allow working people to go to the health center after working hours. These are things that we're doing in addition to more operating theaters which are already programmed for next year, for next term, including a new KPH.
Importantly, we've also increased access to medicines under NHF. And we've increased access for our senior citizens through NI Gold and JLP. Under the Jamaica Labour Party, we have taken a comprehensive approach to health infrastructure.
Thank you so much, Team JLP. We have another social media question. Moy?
This one is from Matthew Williams. With key parts of the Data Protection Act still not in force and several major data breaches reported this year, many Jamaicans feel their personal information is not adequately protected. How will your government address this growing privacy crisis and rebuild public trust in the protection of citizens' data?
Team JLP, you get to answer this one first.
Data protection is critical as we continue to build out more and more digital systems to ensure efficiency and effectiveness in the pursuit of business, growth, and prosperity. And this is why we have been paying attention to ensuring that implementation of the Act is phased and sensitive to the various stakeholders, ensuring that it's effective when each stage is put in place. We have done more to protect your data and will do more. As we recognize that AI is also being used more, we will ensure that there is an AI blueprint and roadmap, which of course is going to be built out of the very first task force on AI in the Caribbean, which was already established under this administration. We'll also ensure that there is new legislation to protect every Jamaican's face, voice, and image from the type of misinformation and negative campaigns that are run by parties like the PNP.
The Data Protection Act was indeed passed by the Jamaica Labour Party. And we are proud that it was passed, and we're happy that the Data Commissioner is now in place to speed up implementation. However, data requires data accuracy. It should be known for all Jamaicans watching that it is this government that gave the highest increase to civil servants. It is this government that insisted that there would be no more wage freezes for teachers, as was commonplace under the People's National Party.
Thank you so much, Team JLP. Team PNP, your response to the question?
The Jamaica Labour Party does not believe in privacy. It was one of their own ministers that says nothing is private. Do you remember? Because I certainly do. But not only that, when one considers the NIDS Act, the National Identification Act, the People's National Party, representing the people of Jamaica, had to take the Jamaica Labour Party to court to protect privacy rights. So the Jamaica Labour Party simply cannot come to you tonight to tell you that they're serious about privacy. Simply not true. The People's National Party, we value your privacy. And it is for that reason why we will trade a cadre of data protection experts to work with different sectors so they understand what is in the law, they understand what is to be done, and how they can balance privacy rights. In fact, this will also create a new sector in Jamaica. Damion, don't you agree?
I definitely do agree, Sophia. But also we should remind the public that it was this Prime Minister that suggested that they can track persons who say certain things on social media. It is also this Prime Minister that has proven himself to be highly vindictive and have seen arrest of individuals who have criticized him in any way at any given time. It is also that government that stole sand from the beaches. So let us talk about what that government has done.
Thank you so much, Team PNP. So, viewers, we're doing things a little different this evening. We now invite Team PNP to ask a question of Team JLP.
In any decent democracy, where a leader has not been certified by the Integrity Commission, where the leader has been a part of Ponzi schemes and benefited from them, where the leader among members of his cabinet or his party are said to be part of an illicit aid for illegal enrichment, those persons could not be on the ballot. Therefore, why should Jamaica be any different from such decent democracies?
The PNP, we understand, has no answer to the plans, the programs, and the achievements of the Jamaica Labour Party. They see their only path to Jamaica House by trying to destroy the reputation of the Prime Minister of Jamaica and others. The Jamaica Labour Party has been the party that has done more for the integrity and anti-corruption framework in this country than any other administration. It is under the PNP that every day, every week you woke up to a new scandal, light bulb, Solutria, NSWMA, Manchester Parish Council, Hanover, KSAMC, you name it, Crook and Anchor. It is under the PNP that Jamaica had the lowest scores under the Corruption Perception Index. And it is under the Jamaica Labour Party that Jamaica has had the highest. Why? Because the independent international experts actually look at the facts and not the steady drumbeat of PNP misinformation and weaponization of processes. There is no report that has found any finding of guilt or illegality on the part of the Prime Minister. There is no finding against the Prime Minister, and the PNP needs to stop telling the lie of 28 bank accounts. It is simply not true.
Thank you so much, Team JLP. Team PNP, your 45-second rebuttal.
It's odd that you say that's not true. Dennis Chung said that not only were it true, that it's inconsequential, that it's normal, he suggested, just as we now figure out. He was rehearsing for the job for which the qualifications were waived so that he could get the job. Most of you look for a job. In that case, the job seemed to have looked for and found him. Now, the other things you say about doing the most for the integrity framework, that includes being the only Prime Minister to have taken the Integrity Commission to court, to quash a clause he once bragged that he included as chairman of cabinet. So the lies are on that side, aren't they?
Thank you so much, Team PNP. We now invite Team JLP to ask a question of Team PNP.
You know, lies are an affront to God. Yeah. And Reverend Albert would have taught you that.
Should have.
However, to be clear, the last time the People's National Party was at the wicket, they leveled $60 billion of new taxes on the backs of the Jamaican people. They have said that they will fix a tax to imported food items, which economists have said will increase the cost of living to the poor of Jamaica. Damion has said that he will fund education needs with an increase in GCT. The PNP have fixed a tax to parties. What should the Jamaican people expect by way of taxation from the next People's National Party administration 10, 20 years from now.
Can I go ahead?
Team PNP,
okay, thank
please
you.
answer the question.
Thank you. Well, the People's National Party had to take on a rebuilding project in the last Portia Simpson-Miller administration. Indeed, never before had the IMF stopped sending money to the Jamaica public or to the Jamaican society before, because it was run asunder by a government that included Andrew Holness and also Audley Shaw as the head of the Ministry of Finance. The People's National Party, then having rebuilt the economy, embarked upon a fiscal policy rules that we implemented to ensure that the country was on the right track. And having put the country on the right track, there is absolutely no need for the People's National Party to engage in further taxations. Indeed, what exists currently as the People's National Party proposals lie greatly within the context of the $360 billion available for governments to decide on what to do. But the $23 billion that we have identified is even less than the overrun for Cornwall Regional. We will therefore not have those overruns. The JLP continue to ask where we'll get the money. We will get the money from the same place that Market Me money came from. We'll get the same money from the same place that paying off Ramsharak from Petrojam came from. We'll get the money from the same place that the buying of 200 used cars that we did not receive come from. We will get the money from the same budget that exists for the people.
Thank you so much, Team PNP. Team JLP, your rebuttal.
No doubt you will get this money from the same place that the failed Heroes Circle wall came from. But it is simply inaccurate to suggest that the international community cut off Jamaica. We were able to draw down on loans from the World Bank and the IDB right before we demitted office. But to be clear, it is this government that has cut debt to 62% of GDP. It is this government that has cut poverty rates to its lowest ever. It is this government that has ensured that the unemployment rate has gone to record lows of 3.2%. There is work to do. There is no doubt that there is improvements to be made in sectors. However, this government has a credibility to do it and will do so in the next term.
Thank you so much, Team JLP. Ladies and gentlemen, we now go to the closing statements, and based on the earlier coin toss decision, Team JLP will go first. And you can begin your 2 minutes.
My fellow Jamaicans, Jamaica is safer and stronger with the JLP. We reduced murders by 43%, created 250,000 jobs, and we delivered the largest increase in the minimum wage in our history. We gave our doctors, nurses, teachers, police, and other public sector officers the largest pay increase, despite COVID, Hurricane Beryl, droughts, and global uncertainty. And remember, for 8 consecutive years, we did this without any burden of new taxes on you, the Jamaican people. Now we know that prices are rising globally. And that is why we're not just focused on increasing wages, but rather creating better conditions for growth. 33 quarters of growth, save and except for COVID. And still giving support to the most vulnerable. This is the JLP way. We care. Now compare. Under the PNP, wage freezes, heavy taxes, no relief of social pension for Miss Ivy, no relief for the vendor, the taxi operator, the housekeeper, just tax after tax after tax. And we heard Damion and Dayton already talking about taxes. So are you really willing to suffer the indignity of more taxes under the PNP? No way. With the Jamaica Labour Party, increased pension, better agriculture, better health infrastructure, enhanced education. This is our commitment. That's why we say to you, reject the reckless PNP promises. Choose performance. Choose Jamaica. Choose the JLP. The Jamaica Labour Party delivers, and we are committed to doing even more for you. On September 3, remember, put your X beside the bell.
Thank you so much, Team JLP. Team PNP, please go ahead with your closing statements.
One thing you could not have said is spell Jamaica, because we already know you can't. Jamaica has evolved to be one of the world's most recognized brands globally. Yet too many members of the Jamaican family live in standards and conditions that are, simply put, deplorable. On September 3, 2025, we all have an opportunity to put in office a government led by Mark Golding that places the people of the country and every member of the Jamaican family at the center of our policies and programs. In that Jamaica, imagine that you have become unwell and you go to the hospital and there are beds, there are CAT scans, there are MRIs, there is medication and tools to save your lives available right there in the hospital. In that Jamaica, our nurses, teachers, firefighters, and police officers have not just better tools to do their jobs professionally, but also better conditions of work and better salaries with overtime benefits not taxed. In that Jamaica, whether you're up on the corner as a youth, or you're working in a salon as a nail technician or a barber, or a deal with the eyelashes or tattoos, your Jamaica becomes not just the land of your birth, but the land in which your dreams can be achieved within your lifetimes. In the Jamaica led by Mark Golding, more affordable houses will be provided so that mothers and fathers can better care for and protect the members of their own family. On September 3, it's not just about a regular election. It is about creating a Jamaica that you at home can love and be a part of the national success that will be gained. Vote PNP on September 3.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much to both our teams. Now, in the good spirit of the debates, we now invite both teams to shake hands. And as they do so, I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our first debate between Pearnel Charles Jr. of the JLP, Kamina Johnson-Smith, and Matthew Samuda for Team JLP, and Damion Crawford, Sophia Fraser-Binns, and Raymond Pryce for the People's National Party. Join us again Tuesday, August 26 at 9 p.m. for the debate focusing on the economy, which for the first time will be a team debate between Team JLP and Team PNP. Audience, you can clap now. Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks to our production and funding partners, and most of all, our viewers and listeners all across Jamaica and the diaspora. I'm Janella Precius. Good night.
through highlighting weaknesses in the Jamaica Labour Party's governance, that they would not have served a good 9 years, and that is why they're deserving of an opportunity to take over in government. And I believe the major clashes in this debate were really hinged much on investment. You heard a lot of talk about investment. But the true question that I have to ask the Jamaican people, are you guys feeling the impact of all this investment talk that has been made? So, in essence, both parties delivered their fair bit of contribution. The burden may not have been fulfilled to its greatest, but on my scorecard, I'd say I see a lot of the talk going in favor of the Jamaica Labour Party.
For this debate?
That is correct.
Is it that you believe they answered the question better, or you heard more of their policy intention from the answers given?
I believe from the major clashes, that being from education, technology, wages and health, the Jamaica Labour Party would have edged the People's National Party on 3 of those, which I will say are education, technology and wages. The People's National Party, in my opinion, I think they would have taken health, but it's something that you must take into consideration what they're trying to get across to the people in terms of policy. They'd have examined past policy and how it was implemented.
Right.
And it must be acknowledged that over the course of the past 20 years, with movement from Jamaica Labour Party governance to People's National Party governance, there has been a very stiff clash in terms of providing policy enactment to the Jamaican people.
Okay. Let me hear what your scorecard is saying now, Ronaldino, since we heard a little bit from Tariq.
Yeah, so I'm going to disagree with Tariq a little bit on what the burdens were.
Yes.
Because I don't think, being the party in power, that all that the Jamaica Labour Party has to do is to convince people that they've done good for the past 9 years. Indeed, it's entirely possible that they've done really well the past 9 years and they have nothing further to contribute, and so they could just hand over power to the PNP now. I think I think their burden was to explain why they should get another 5 years in office.
Right.
And the burden of the PNP is to explain why we should change.
Right.
And so when I adjudicate the debate, I've already told you that I think on content, it was extremely deficient from both sides. But on certain key issues, on education and on housing in particular, where I thought the PNP's manifesto, in my view, was strongest. On those key issues, I heard interesting proposals from the People's National Party, where in many key issues I heard on this business of proposing things, on this business of policy making, I heard it lacking from the Jamaica Labour Party. So on that note, and also slightly on stylistically, I'd give the win to the People's National Party tonight. But I don't think it was any significant win. I think that the Jamaica Labour Party really needs to complete its argument. And by complete its argument, I mean there are lots of achievements to show, and they did go through many of those achievements tonight. But that's not all you have to do to convince people that you need to stay in power for another 5 years. And the PNP is really working hard to talk about the deficiencies in healthcare and so on. I mean, I didn't give much credence to Mr. Pryce pointing out that the health minister wasn't there. Probably it would have made more sense if it came from their spokesperson on health on the stage. But of course, their spokesperson on health wasn't there either. Their opposition spokesperson wasn't there. But they still sold to the Jamaican people. They still spoke, we would say, pathos in certain circles. They still spoke to the conditions of the people in a way that I think probably stylistically made it so that people felt more seen and heard on their side of the debate tonight.
Is there somebody who didn't show up at the debate tonight for you, Dr. Baker?
Well, in terms of the people who were physically there,
yes,
but not...
Yeah. Or who was the weakest member of the two teams, would you say?
The two teams?
Yes.
I actually, you see, I see the teams had slightly different strategies.
Yes.
So that the JLP tried to be, recount this is the fact of the situation. I was intrigued that the PNP had a kind of call and response strategy,
yes,
which was
Damion
quite
and Sophia,
and also between Sophia and Raymond, you know. And I thought that was interesting, and an attempt to kind of demonstrate that
teamwork.
We're not just a one person show. So in that regard, and when I look at you know, Johnson Smith was the kind of moderator. Okay, yes, we may have more to do, but and in fact, I think, unfortunately, and maybe it's because of the lack, that I actually think Pearnel Charles Jr. may have been the least visible, impactful person on that team. I mean, I heard and I can register and visualize the three people on the PNP side, but I kept waiting on Pearnel to talk, to kind of put his portfolio, which is a massive portfolio, forward.
Yes.
And I don't know, was he allowed to? What, you know, did they?
Of course he was allowed. When he did, I think the rebuttal from Raymond Pryce perhaps threw him off, which is to say, I'm trying to figure out exactly what you said a while ago.
Yes.
I don't know what to do a rebuttal on.
Yes.
But your thoughts, who is it who didn't show up, if anybody, at all for you to read?
I'll start by giving my input or take as to who I believe was the strongest speaker.
Yes.
In looking at the clashes, as I said, from both sides, you must take into account the fact that much of the arguments posed are issues that many citizens are discussing. So to take into account who delivered the most convincing and revealing speech to say that, yes, I am convinced that what you are selling to me, I am going to buy into it. I believe Matthew Samuda would have done that. Anyone missing from the debate? I must agree with Dr. Baker. I believe that though Mr. Pearnel Charles was there in presence, in physicality, his mode of or his mode of speech after that rebuttal by Mr. Pryce, I think it kind of threw him off a bit. So, in all honesty, the two sides offered strong speeches, but not strong enough to suffice what the Jamaican people are expecting to hear from them.
We're coming up on a break. When we come back in the second segment, it's only half an hour discussion, and we'll be doing it not only for this debate, but for the two others to come. When we come back, we'll be delving a little bit more in some of the issues that arose in this very first debate on social issues. Please send your comments, your questions at Jamaica. Make that hashtag JA Debates2025 so we can take them live right here on the Post Debate Analysis Show. you. Thank you so much for rejoining us here for the post-debate analysis, and I rejoin my guests in studio. Let me come back to you, Ronaldino McLean. You think this particular debate will have any impact at all on what is to happen the 3rd of September, and if so, why?
Yeah, so I can't say that it will have no impact, but I don't think it will have a significant impact. Again, I don't think so. I think these debates might have significant positive impact when a lot is said that people don't already know, or some idea or proposal is just so interesting or radical to completely shake people's minds. But in this debate, we got a lot that we've already heard on the campaign trail, or in Parliament, or read through the manifestos, and I know lots of people don't follow politics as much, and so maybe this is the first time they will be introduced to some of that content.
Yes.
But I don't think it's any significant portion of people that will have some radical shift on.
I believe, Tariq, I heard one new policy initiative, perhaps from Kamina Johnson-Smith, for student loan and for the debt from student loan. Did you hear it?
Yes, and I think that will have a vast impact on youth and youth voters, particularly those university students. I think looking back at past Don Anderson poll findings, the RJR Gleaner Don Anderson poll findings, where you'd have seen youth voter apathy, rising, the increase in youth voter apathy, that is their disregard or lack of concern to voting. I believe that would have been a concerning statistic that would have emerged from the findings of the polls. And I think this directed or aimed this policy from the Jamaica Labour Party towards the university students or youth. I believe it might have an impact on them in inspiring them to get out on election day, September 3rd, to go cast their ballot for the Jamaica Labour Party.
Your thoughts on whether this will matter come 3rd of September?
Well, you see, I think, well, I don't know about 3rd of September. I suppose, because you see, I don't know that our students really experience the kind of burden of debt that, for example, students and graduates in the U.S. undergo. I'm not saying it's not a problem. So that if are young, and it's not just the about to graduate or the new graduates, it's the people who've been on the treadmill and lost the job or something and who can now get a little relief. So that group, I'd love to know how big that was. And that was one of the things that really struck me, that here is an opportunity to provide facts and figures, numbers rather than generalities. And, if it means that there are, 15% of the students who have been in receipt of student loan are in that position and will be freed of that by the stroke of a pen. Now, that to me is impactful.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
But it was buried in lots of other stuff.
Yes. And as Dr. Baker said that, let me come back to you, Ronaldino. In the age of misinformation, where people are increasingly not hearing the substance, but they're looking at the style.
Yes.
Who has suffered tonight because the style was just not up to par?
Yeah, so, I mean, again, so I kind of said to you that I gave the PNP, the slight edge on style. I mean, that doesn't come without some of the, like you're saying, misinformation, because we heard some falsehoods flying around during the debate. I think, though, again, on the style and the image on who has suffered, I think the PNP probably had a better unit, a more cohesive team than the JLP did. And so maybe that's why some of the issues with timing, because there were issues with timing, or some of the issues with who was to answer, who was to respond to what question when, came up. So, maybe maybe they fell short because of kind of a lack of unity and cohesion between them going up.
Right. What about the debate format now, Tariq? Do you have an issue with it, or do you like the debate format?
The debate was formatted in a way that I think is quite strange to us as debaters, national debaters.
Why?
We don't necessarily use, we use a three-person per team strategy or debate style. But in terms of the way the questions are asked, I mean, it's something that's being newly incorporated, but in the style that it was, with questioning, cross-questioning, one side being able to question the other, it's new, but it's unique, and it allows, it fosters the interaction of the different members on each side to, you know, give their take and their fair share as to what they believe is best for the Jamaican people.
So that question where each party is allowed to ask the other party a question.
Yes.
Your thoughts on who had the most impactful question and whether the other side responded appropriately to that question, Dr. Baker. The one on the Prime Minister was on the Integrity Commission.
Yes, that was about the Integrity Commission, and I kind of said, oh no, not there again.
Why not?
Well, as I said, wrong expectations. So, okay, you know, yes, you know, that I really wasn't taken with that. I do agree that I was concerned about the absence of the opening statement and so on. But in truth and in fact, I think that was a good decision. And I think also the combination, because of the two journalists, you know, face-to-face, but also the ready incorporation of the social media inputs.
Yes.
I thought that really worked very smoothly, very well. I know, and you know, you had an editor, so they were able to kind of ignore the kind of obnoxious stuff that I'm sure they got. So I actually liked that. I just wish that it had a little more depth. But I like that. I would say, you know, yeah, do it again this way, because perhaps even if it's only a 3-minute opening thing, would have just put us to sleep at the beginning.
Right. Tariq?
Yes. Yes, and in returning to a point that Dr. Baker brought up earlier, impact, I think it's important for us to note that much of the talk that's around investment by both parties, I think many Jamaicans are swayed by actually feeling the impact. So, as she said, with the university students, for instance, but just by the sign of a pen, I think many voters will be swayed in this election by the mere presence of the impact and being felt within their communities, within their reach. And I think that will be ultimately what determines whether or not the Jamaica Labour Party retains government or the People's National Party takes over.
That question, yes.
I was going to just to pick up on that, because I think that, you know, I know that the Prime Minister and others get upset with this not feeling it, but and I think they think the declarations from the platform and so on are the things, but I think I want to know that Tariq is one of the people who, whatever, you know, you were able, you got into heart and you finished that program, and you know, you got a job as a result, or you got, you know, that is where the rubber hits the road, and that was a problem, I think, with it.
Right.
And I don't know, you know, a more rapid fire kind of thing, I don't know. I mean, debates have to have very formal proceedings and so on. But I think that the impact thing, you know, they need to bring it to practicality some more. There were two, and I just felt that in a way, I think the debate spoke more to the partisans than to the undecided.
Okay. So, Ronaldino, the last question well, not the last one, where each team was allowed to ask questions of the next. Who you think had the strongest question, and how were the responses to each?
Yes, so I think the JLP had the stronger question. Both questions slightly.
JLP's question?
Yes. So
ask about taxes?
Yes. So I think both questions were were misplaced.
Yes.
So the PNP's question seemed fit for the leadership debate, the PNP's question on integrity, and the JLP's question seemed fit for the debate on the... I would have much rather the JLP, touted the recent reductions in crime and then asked the PNP, what will you do differently to sustain this reduction? That would have been
especially since
the
there
most...
was no question
that would have been the
at all.
most rhetorically effective question, I think.
Yes.
But I just thought that the JLP probably tied theirs more to social issues by saying, to fund some of the proposals that you talk about in housing and education, for example, you'll need to raise taxes on people.
Okay, there are 2 minutes to go. Anybody has a burning issue you want to say before I give my 2 cents worth?
I think I'll agree.
Yeah.
Quite definitely with Ronaldinho. I believe the lack of mention to the question from the People's National Party towards the Jamaica Labour Party as relates to from the Jamaica Labour Party rather to the People's National Party as relates to them sustaining the reduction in crime. I think many Jamaicans are oblivious to the fact that if the People's National Party go into power, they'll be tasked or given the duty to continue steering the country along the path that it is currently going or headed as relates to the reduction of crime, which is a big thing and a major thing that has come off Jamaica within the past 20 years.
Other than the numbers, also on the other side where, on the basis of intelligence, one goes out and shoots 3 people.
Yes, ma'am.
Because if we're going to talk about judicial systems and so on, which is the backdrop of the backdrop, you can't be judge, jury, and executioner.
Right.
And it feeds an attitude that says, if I say something, it's as good as.
Thank you guys so much. Well, for me this evening, the clear winner of the debate was the People's National Party. I think Matthew Samuda was extremely strong, sturdy hand. He needed 2 other team members. They just didn't show up tonight. I think on style, rebuttal, presence, and all of the other matters that are supposed to come to a debate like this, the People's National Party, they brought it. I will do fact check on the issues, but in an age where there are so many bits of information that is told that is not true, you have to ensure that you go for the jugular, you're present and you're on the ball with the responses. And I think that really came for the JLP only from Matthew Samuda. He was 2 people short this evening. Join us again next Tuesday when we will have another post-debate analysis after the debate on matters concerning the economy. Have a good evening, everybody. I'm Emily Shields. Thank you so much.
Thank you.